Hi, I'm Scott,
And I'm Luke.
and we're Android guys,
Give us 5 to 10 minutes of your day
and we'll tell you about a product or service.
or an app that you might be interested in. So that's 2 items for me. What do you have to talk about?
Well, a handful of things,
Okay.
but I'll get to the first one here. This is one of those non-techie things.
Okay, cool. We
But-
love that.
You know, we did a roundup, or I'm working on a roundup of things for the kitchen gadgets, gear
Sure.
for aspiring chefs, or
Right,
whatever
yeah.
the final thing looks like.
Yeah.
We're talking kitchen stuff lately.
Yeah.
And so this was the AirHood Wireless.
Okay.
That was sent to us. And this AirHood is available as a wired and a wireless version. Look, when you're cooking on the stove and things start to get, maybe you're dealing with grease, you're making bacon,
Mm-hmm.
it starts to make a lot of maybe smoke,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit that button over the range that says, to kind
Fan.
of vent that.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you've got a microwave above it that
Yeah.
you've got that.
Yep.
There are a lot of people who don't have a button to push.
Yes. Yeah.
This solves that problem.
Yeah.
This is that kind of thing. It is a vent system
Uh-huh.
that you can essentially place anywhere you want.
Okay.
And it is like putting a tiny oscillating fan in front of your stove or your oven,
Yeah.
or over by the roaster, or whatever you're working on. Anything that you might need to vent,
Yeah.
this is that. So if you looking at this thing, description wise, this is available in 3 different colors. There's black, white, and red.
Okay.
It looks kind of like, the description to me is like those oscillating fans you might have put on a dresser back in the day.
Yes.
Not very big.
Yeah.
But it's got the little buttons in front.
Yep.
This takes up about that much space.
Okay.
You plug this guy in, and it's got an internal battery.
Okay.
So you can leave it plugged in and use it, or you can kind of like grab it by the handle, unplug it, and kind of put it on this side of the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Put it over here, and you can have it adjust to kind of clean the air as you're cooking. One of the things that I've noticed when I tend to cook is we have a air quality sensor
Yes.
that will tell us there's a lot of volatile
Uh-huh.
compounds in the air, or
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
pollutants, things like that.
Yeah.
This has helped kind of cut that down a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, because it truly it's that fan, that thing that kind of takes that air and filters it
Yeah.
and helps clean that space for you.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I'll tell you a couple of things about it. It has a cooking fume extraction, so it doesn't just pull that kind of like smoke, but it kind of helps clear and the way the room smells.
Oh.
So it's not immediate, but
Uh-huh.
it does help you cut down, so you're like, the house doesn't smell like bacon all the time.
Sure.
Or fish or whatever you're cooking.
Right.
It has a detachable grease filter. So
Oh, yeah.
you can clean this thing. It takes, you can pull right off the front of it. It's like a silver, like a mesh
Uh-huh.
grill. You can clean that very easily. This has like the oil filter. It's got charcoal filters in it.
Uh-huh.
There's 3 speeds, so depending on what you're doing, you can adjust that.
Yeah.
It's really quiet.
How close do you need to get it for it to work well?
Not very.
Yeah.
I was surprised. So similar to like over the range, over the oven, or the
so
grill.
that's
or whatever.
generally 2 to 3 feet above your
Yeah.
range.
I would say you can put it as close as you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. You can kind of keep it at an area where you feel like if you're working in the kitchen, you're not going to like turn and bump it
Sure.
as you're taking something off of the stove.
That's nice because, from the size of it, I would almost think it needs to be like kind of right up on what you're doing.
Not so much.
That's awesome.
I was really surprised. It's one of those things. I have the fan built into my microwave.
Sure.
So we'll tend to default to that.
Yep.
But we've made a concerted effort recently that if we're cooking anything and our gut instinct is to reach for that, to push the button, grab
Try
the
and use
AirHood.
other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we brought that, and it's sat on the counter, and kind of comes and goes as we need it.
Yeah.
It's like a blender, you kind of put it away once in a while.
Right.
It's a great gadget or tool to have in the kitchen. switching the different speeds, you can definitely tell when you dial it like up 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
On the back side of it, there's like some LED lights, so you can kind of tell like not specific hours or how much time is left, but like roughly within 25% of battery, what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I haven't had to charge this thing.
Oh, wow.
But that's also because I'm not cooking like 10, 20 hours.
Sure, right,
so I can't tell you for sure specifically what that is. I'm going to look to see if I can find out what it listed at by the time I'm done here talking. But other than that, this thing, it's pretty cool. We got the red one. Now, we also received, as part of our kit, there was a like a base that you can get. It's an optional accessory.
Okay.
It's a bass boost. Basically,
it makes it a little taller.
That's what it
looks
does.
like. Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of like this like suction kind of thing, but it adds maybe a couple of inches rise to it.
Yeah.
And you may or may not need that, but it's something that later on, if you need to pick up, you could do that. This thing seems like it's going to be pretty easy to clean.
Yeah.
I like this, like right at the top of it, you can kind of reach and pull this like magnetic kind of click screen.
Yeah.
But you just take
the
that
oil filter.
Yep. And just kind of rinse that off in the sink, wash it. It looks like something, I mean, the red is pretty red.
Yeah.
But if you went with like a white one or a black one, it's pretty modern design, pretty.
Yeah. If it could be fairly nondescript on a counter. I mean, it looks like an appliance, but not like, it doesn't look strange.
Yeah. And if you had a white or a black one, it would probably match just about any setting you've got.
Sure.
The red does call a little bit of attention to it, but
now I'm looking at a picture of it. Does it have a handle on it that you pick up?
So when you look at it, there's like this like loop behind it. It's like a lantern.
Okay.
So you kind of grab that.
Could you hang it if you wanted?
I think you could. It's more designed to be portable. I don't know how it would hang. Other than like maybe over, like not against the wall kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
you
if
wouldn't
had
want to do that.
Like a hanging basket somewhere.
Sure.
But then I think you're calling attention to it.
Well, sure. Right. I was just trying to think of like maybe if you're low on counter space, how would you use this?
So, and that's where we are. We tend to, especially if we're testing out new fun stuff.
Yeah.
This air fryer sits here for a while. This product sits there, and we've got juicers and blenders, different things that it's kind of like
at some point it's like what actually needs to stay out.
Yeah. Sure. And depending on the season, a lot of times now we're grilling outside. So things that we might otherwise grill and get like a smoky indoor kind of kitchen. But we've made a point to do that and test this thing out.
You got to put it through its paces. Sure.
Yeah. So this guy runs about 158.
Okay.
So it's not something where you're going to be like, oh yeah, I've got to have this thing.
Sure.
Sounds really cool. It's a splurge buy. It's not that. It's a little more intentional. However, if you do a lot of cooking, if you don't have a system to ventilate, then you might be willing to pay anything to clean that, kitchen up a little bit.
I mean, the reality is if you're cooking a lot and maybe if you're in an apartment or something like that, you don't have a hood for your range. I mean, you really should do something. Yeah,
and if you have like there's multi-purpose like air fryers and grills and little things that you can do that, if you have a small apartment or you live on a campus and you guys share space, but you don't have a lot of space, like this is one of the things that might be worth having to just kind of like, you obviously maybe don't have a full-sized kitchen, so you're kind of making do with what you have. This is one of those things that might be worth the space and the investment for that.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the AirHood, and we checked out the wireless, but then they also have a version that you can get that is wired.
Gotcha.
And right now, if you look at the website, there's a difference of about $30.
Okay.
So if you went with the wired, you're looking at about 126. Normally 156. And then the wireless is 158, normally about 196.
Okay.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.